Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the last days. I've got, yeah, okay, you're going to fix that. Just got some echo in my ear. Welcome to the beginning of the last days. It's so good to be with you. How was your weekend? Was it fantastic? My weekend was spectacular. I got together with family and got to see my kids, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then went to some friends' houses. Um, and one gathering was just so much fun to be. We were all commenting on how wonderful it is to just gather with people of like mind, and you're all on the same page. You love each other, you have each other's backs, and you have this community that has formed based out of values, principles, and what you see going on in the world. It is an absolutely spectacular thing. And so I had fun, a lot of fun, and ready to get back to work. I'm going to be traveling a little bit this week, but I will be, I'll still be doing the show, except for tomorrow. I'll probably be doing a show from the airport. And I love reporting on what's going on in the airport because they're all crazy out there. Um, so I opened my dad's Bible, my dad, my father, and he had underlined a verse. I'm, just discovering what he thought was important. And he underlined a verse that I absolutely love. And it's found in Habakkuk. And I guess it's Habakkuk 3, verse 17 to the end. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be on the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the fields shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Basically, is all bad news. The entire thing going on there is that there's nothing good happening. A lot of concern, could be very stressful. The next verse, all of this my dad has highlighted. Yet, and my dad circled that, yet, despite all of this, I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. The Lord God is my strength, and he will make my feet like hinds' feet, and he will make me walk upon my high places. Wow. God will make our feet like hinds' feet. You know, the thing about those mountain goats is they can just be on the most treacherous land there is. It it's so frightening. They're like climbing up the side of a rock face mountain, and it doesn't look good, but they're able to do it because the Lord has given them hinds' feet. And so that scripture is saying we will be able to walk in treacherous places, but the Lord has made our feet strong and has given us the ability. I know, I'll turn that off. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay. Um, the Lord will make us able to handle whatever comes. Though the fig tree does not prosper, the olive does not yield its fruit. What do we do? And we're going through some times like that. I am interested in what's going on in the United States of America right now. What will they do with Biden? What's your prediction? Do you think that Biden's there? He's disposable to them at this point because he keeps saying he's going to run, and now with all of these documents, you know, top classified documents being found in his garage, in his cellar, and wherever he wanted to put these classified documents. So Donald Trump was able to leave with documents and he can declassify anything because he was the president. But Biden has had these documents floating around for about 6, 7 years, and he's moved them several times because he's changed offices. He's opened up the Biden State Center. He's moved places of residence, and the documents have all moved. So it's hard, I think, for him to keep claiming that, oh, I don't know, I didn't remember, I didn't know I had them. Um, and I think everybody is probably had about enough of that. And you have to admit, it must have been super embarrassing for, Karine Jean Pierre to keep covering for everything that he says or does. I think that the entire Democratic Party has been embarrassed because of Biden's state. He's definitely going into dementia as an elderly person. He's not well, and saying that he's going to run again would literally create, quite a bit of a problem. So, but nobody wants Kamala to be the president. They don't even want her to be the president. So is it the Speaker of the House, third in line, right? So if he was removed, it would have to be Kamala Harris? Do you think? So she'd have to be put in. So, oh man, they had 4 years to get a president and vice president who weren't complete blazing idiots, and they were not able to do it in all that time. So I think it's going to be painful as we move into this next season. I don't relish watching that pain of Biden going down. I think I don't know. I think they're maybe going to take him out. We'll see. I don't know that you can, continue hiding all of that stuff. All right. So we've got some stuff today that we want to show you. And basically, the big scare and the next scare is probably climate change, as well as, COVID's still an issue, and there's going to be more variants or another superbug virus. Who knows what they have? But the big thing is climate change, and I think that you have a video there. But for some reason, I just need to try to pull this up. It's not working all that well. But just play that first video. This is literally not populating.
It's a rational argument. A small minority, I accept. Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth. But I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational arguments, so let me make one. We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you. I will join you in worshipping at the feet of Saint Greta of climate change. Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join you in this view. I truly do. Now, what are we to do about this huge problem facing humanity? What can we in Britain do? We can only do one thing. You know why? This country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions, which means that if Britain was to sink into the sea right now, it would make absolutely no difference to the issue of climate change. You know why? Because the future of the climate is going to be decided in Asia and in Latin America by poor people who couldn't give a shit about saving the planet. You are not going to get these people to stay poor. You're not even going to get them to not want to be richer. And so, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change, and that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap. And no, thank you. And I want everyone to get home on time today, which is not going to happen. And the only thing that wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims, to believe that you have no agency, to believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain, is to protest, is to throw soup on paintings. And we on this side of the House are not on this side of the House because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the House because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build. And the problem with woke culture is that it's trained too many young minds like yours to forget about that.
Isn't that fantastic? I love that there are so many different positions and so many words of wisdom, people coming to us with common sense, and we do not have to fall for the narrative and the crazy making that's out there. It is very concerning. Now, in Scotland, a member of parliament announces the goal to reduce the amount of kilometers that people drive. And you can bet that is probably going to be coming here.
On transport, our second Strategic Transport Projects Review, published just 2 weeks ago, confirms that the era of catering for unconstrained growth in private car use is well and truly over. The review follows the sustainable investment hierarchy, which aims to reduce the need to travel unsustainably and prioritises making best use of enhancing existing infrastructure before investing in new capacity. Furthermore, we have set out how we will reduce car kilometres by 20% by 2030 in our draft route map, a truly world-leading commitment demonstrating our level of ambition in meeting Scotland's statutory targets. The Scottish Government have commissioned research exploring demand management options to discourage car use. And using the research findings, we will work with local and regional partners to develop a demand management framework by 2025.
I mean, I like to just be able to drive wherever I want to go in a free country. That's sort of my thought. And imagine, you know, with Agenda 2030, they're making these smart cities that you can, you know, be able to go to your medical, have your work, everything that you need in 15 minutes from, and they'd like it to be walking or biking. Get rid of that car and get an electric car for sure. So, and your gas stove, you don't need that. All of these things trying to change our world. These are all things that people that appear to have some sort of position of authority are all debating and openly vying for. So there is a Swedish tech company, Doconomy, and they connect a phone app to their Do Black credit card, which controls the use with a credit carbon limit. They call it a radical tool against climate change.
In 2018, the United Nations released an urgent report emphasizing the need to cut carbon emissions in half by 2030 in order to avoid an irreversible climate crisis. The average consumer in Sweden causes around 10 tons of carbon emissions each year, of which 60% is linked to consumption. Later in 2018, Doconomy, a Swedish fintech, took on the challenge and launched Do, a mobile banking service for everyday climate action. The Do app is connected to a credit card that enables users to track and measure their carbon footprint from each purchase and to compensate for its impact day by day. This spring, Doconomy took its fight against climate change one step further by adding a premium credit card to its offer. But instead of introducing a premium credit card with the typical benefits that encourages further mass consumption, Doconomy did the opposite by launching Do Black, the world's first credit card with a carbon limit. Simply put, it's the first credit card ever to stop you from overspending. Not based on your available funds, but rather on the levels of CO2 emissions caused by your consumption. Do Black helps you track your climate impact and ensures that you reduce it by 50% in line with the UN 2030 recommendation.
The core purpose of Do Black is not only the ability to measure the impact of your consumption, but also bringing it to a direct halt, making it a radical tool against climate change.
You know, I did see some excitement on my husband's face when it said that it helps you not to overspend. But then when it's really just about carbon, that's when, yeah, he just went right back to normal. He's thinking, what kind of app can I get where there's full control on what she's doing and spending? How many rugs do we need? So I like to buy rugs. Once in a while, couches. I had a season of, oh, this is a beautiful couch. We should get it. And we already had 3. So that was enough of that. And then what else? I like boots, hair. Oh, yeah. Purses, and things. These are things I overlook. Oh, nice plush white blankies. I mean, I cannot resist them. Like I'm in some kind of store and there's plush white blankets and it's got, oh, it feels so soft, like a little, baby puppy or something. And I just feel I need, so I have several, quite a few, just a hallway closet full. But I just think, if people are coming over, they could even have it as a gift, as a parting gift after dinner to take that. I am not an overspender. I am not like a crazy spender, but I do think when they try to start limiting your carbon, so what will this be on, JT? Will it be on like gas? Like, well, what has carbon? Everything has carbon. So if I'm going to be, we're made of carbon. Like, so once you've just spent your limit on buying carbonated things, and then you're done, right? I mean, then you're like, credit card does not work. You gotta wait till next week before you can keep buying any more of those special little blankies that have carbon in them. I do not like it. I do not like it at all. So here's the thing. They're all about the climate change, right? Well, how come no one is talking about the 7 whales that have died in less than 2 months and washed up on the shore? Now, what has caused these deaths? Well, apparently it's the result of the wind turbines. And, these are all so that we can help, have this solar energy and this wind energy. And that is causing a sonic noise under the water that is actually, they think, is what is killing whales. So how interesting that what they're saying is supposed to be helping the environment and be good for the environment. It's not good at all. It's actually killing some of God's most beautiful creatures. So very bizarre world. They had a great report on that on Tucker Carlson the other night, and a woman who is following closely with all of that, just reporting it. It's absolutely tragic. No one's stopping this. No one's stopping the noise, the sonar noise. No one is acknowledging it. Everybody just la, 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 like they do, Oh, we've got some things going on in the world that maybe we should be looking at it. Nope, la, la, la. Everything's fine, safe, and effective. Everything is safe and effective. Move along. All right. Canadian military has hired gay advisors, and a panel has recommended the purging of Catholic chaplains. So I'll see if I can actually pull this up because I'm having a little problem here. Okay, there we go. We have a war, definitely, we have a war on religion, and I'm not Catholic, so, but I believe that you should be able to be any religion that you want. Now, the military has appointed gay advisors to help innovate religious instruction in the Canadian Armed Forces. I talked to also an armed force guy. I think he was a Marine in the United States of America. And he says instead of like doing drills on protecting the country and learning techniques of war, being prepared, they've had to go to classes, woke classes on accepting transgenders and having, men who are women, women who are men being in each other's bathrooms and whatnot. So now the Catholic chaplains, they want them purged from the Army. Many from the Air Force cover church teachings. I'm trying to read something very small here. So, okay, never mind. It's too little. You put it to the smaller page. So we definitely are seeing that our world is changing. And I think, what was the country? Was it the United States that is, I just read a statistic today about the number of people is like 42% representing as Christian, where, it's usually been much higher, and that Satanism is on the rise. Satanism is up by 200%. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. You may have heard that there was a plane crash, and I think we've got some video of that. I saw one from Facebook, and it was basically, must be these guys' last moments on this plane crash. Very sad. Probably this guy didn't make it, and then, oh gosh, look at that. And you'll see fire come up. So it's my understanding that there's 4 survivors, and if they're probably in fairly bad condition, and so we pray for them. Do not know what made that plane go down, but people that were watching say that it suddenly just looked like it was unstable, and then it just dove literally into the ground. God help us. We don't know why that's happening. So we have a troubling new video by a female from this morning in Arizona, as Paul Bixler, a transgender elementary school board member, changed in the women's change room. So let's have a look.
I am at the gym in Arizona. He was undressing in the locker room, top off, bra off, and Paul Bixler was in the women's locker room, and he looked at me and he looked at my breasts, and I have called the police. Recently, he's used the men's locker room, so he agrees himself that he's a man. I have told the police that I was in the locker room, a man was in there, I was getting undressed, he looked at me. He is a man in the women's locker room, and the response is that this is a touchy, sensitive issue in society. Yep, there he goes, women's locker room. There's the man going in the women's locker room. Hope there's no one undressing in there. Hope there's no naked women in there. Since there's a man why isn't anyone warning the women? Just so everyone knows, he's not being arrested. We are at a point where we're catering to society instead of facts. This is alarming. Women's rights are being violated, and I'm not going to put up with it. So Paul, if you're a female, why do you use the men's restroom sometimes and the women's restroom sometimes?
Please stay
Do
with
not
us.
harass him.
Yes, politely, like I said.
He will suffer
This is what they're
no
saying, don't
consequences
harass
for this.
Oh, God bless that woman for her guts to stand up to this stupidity. How absolutely insane does the world have to get? How crazy, how idiotic are these police officers? Basically, they're saying they're not going to do a thing about a guy going into the men's washroom, staring. Why is he staring? Isn't he gay or transgender or a woman? You don't go in and do that, actually, even, if you're a woman. So what's going on? This guy is a sexual deviant. He's a sexual deviant. That's what he is. And now our world is so unsafe. It's not safe for women, and they're making it more unsafe. Women are always at a disadvantage. We're weaker. We don't have the same muscles. We don't have the same, rights in a lot of cases. We fought very hard to be able to, have a great world for women and for our daughters and the next generations. And all of that, it's being just wiped away by crazy people. Really? I mean, it's just nuts. What if that's your daughter there, right? Your child, your friend. This is so, it's an invasion. It's an attack. It's an assault on you personally. And they can't take that. And they want this lady to stop harassing the transgender, ugliest transgender of all time, by the way. Okay, so here's a transgender mindbender. Miss Universe's new owner, a biological male, announces the organization will be run by women for all women around the world to celebrate feminism. As they've just made, I believe that Miss Universe is a transgender.
The Miss Universe organization from now on is going to be ran by women, owned by trans women, for all women.
That's the owner.
For all women really around the world to celebrate the power of feminism.
Oh my gosh. With the man's voice. We want to celebrate women around the world because we're so feminine. We got our fake boobs and we got all the hair removed from our chest and we think that we're women. We know we don't have a womb and yes, we still have way more body mass than any woman. But anyways, we just want to celebrate feminism and we are going to be leading the pack with celebrating feminism. Oh, well, it's not working. You look like a guy. You sound like a guy. You're a guy. Okay. Bonnie Henry admits that masks do very little to prevent transmission. Take a look.
So everybody wearing masks is not going to make a tremendous difference in the transmission of these viruses because we transmit them in those situations when we're at home, when we're with friends, when we're doing social things that are important in our lives where we don't wear masks, and it still allows these viruses to transmit.
So JT's just telling me that she is getting roasted on Twitter. But guess by who? By the people that want her to force everyone to wear a mask. She can't win, right? We've talked about all this stuff. How tiny, a 0.0 whatever of a mini micro whatever thing that is. That virus is so tiny, right? So let's imagine that this is the size of a virus, super tiny, and this is a mask. That's what's happening. That's just the facts, That's just the reality of it. So now she's saying, oh, it doesn't really. So now everyone's mad at her. Well, what you've done, Bonnie Henry, is when this all came. Do you remember in the beginning of COVID, she actually was not all pro mask. Oh, right. We should be careful talking about all of this because some people don't like us to tell the truth about everything. Okay, but remember in the beginning of COVID, I think she was trying to be reasonable, but obviously her big paycheck means a lot to her. So she sold out the Canadian people. She has been bought off. She's got friends in high places. She doesn't want to lose all of that. You can tell when you look at Bonnie that she sold her soul. You can tell. She doesn't look like an authentic person. She hasn't since the beginning of this. Since she sold out, she has let humanity down. She's definitely let British Columbia down. And she's also allowed a lot of people to be harmed in and out of the hospital. So the Tennessee Health Subcommittee reports natural immunity is the strongest. So this is an interesting new report from Tennessee Health. You think we should leave YouTube for that? Well, isn't it, wait, before you do it. Didn't they report on it? We're not allowed to talk about what they reported? So you think it could get us in trouble? Well, so everyone should, okay, is there anything else we can go over? I hate leaving where the people are. Look at all the people on today. So the animal sacrifice story. We're allowed to cover animal sacrifice. So sure. Why don't you play that then? Oh, it's a website. Okay. Oh, all right. So Muslim Michigan mayor on ritual animal sacrifice. There's no way we can ban it. So can you go wide to, oh, there we go. And the vote comes after much lengthy debate and lobbying from observant Muslim community leaders who live in this Detroit area city which was initially settled by German farmers and Poles who came to work in the automobile industry and who observe Eid al-Adha. Eid is a celebration which occurs at the end of Ramadan and remembers Abraham's devotion to Allah through his willingness to sacrifice his son. It is also dramatically commemorated by the slaughtering of livestock, and the meat is consumed. So by lifting, oh, I can't see anymore. Are you able to go down a bit farther on that? Okay, by lifting the previous ban voted on December on ritual animal slaughter, public officials seemed motivated to protect Hamtramck from a costly legal challenge. You cannot suppress people's religious practices because they are minority, stated a minority, stated Mayor Amr Ghalib. The public comments during last week's hearing offered a fascinating glimpse into a community where assimilation of those whose native land is Yemen, Bangladesh, and Pakistan is a mixed bag. The meeting featured a score of residents who spoke little to no English and made their case for and against the proposed ordinance in Arabic and Bengali. The majority of the comments were offered by men. So, freedom of religion and freedom of speech is a very big deal in Canada and in the United States right now because we've had so much of it, suppressed. So they're slaughtering animals. Where are you guys on this? I mean, in order to eat a steak, it got slaughtered. They're doing it, yeah. Yeah. They're cutting open their throats and letting them bleed out. That's really disgusting. Yeah. So, so where do you think that falls then when you have freedom? I am a very firm believer that that's very harmful to a human. Yeah, well, I do not believe that practices that harm humans in any way. Female circumcision is just hideous and ridiculous. So, you know, that is, I think, definitely goes beyond the pale. I mean, if you really look into it. So, but when you want to have freedom of religion, you, in a sense, have to make sure everybody has that. But how many people are going to be there to do this? This is not something that's going to affect very many people. I don't know many people that want to be a part of any, thing that they're doing this ritualistic thing. I mean, how did they do sacrifices in the Old Testament? Probably that way, right? What would you fall on then, JT? You think this should be banned? You think it should be banned? Yeah, he thinks it should be banned. I don't like it. So that's a tough one. What are people in the comments saying? Because I don't like it. I wouldn't be part of it. I would think it's disgusting and sick. But I think that people have to be. It's not hurting people. It's gross. We kill animals for food, anyways. It's just not usually in front of everyone. Part of the thing that I wrestle with all the time is that there's a lot of things going on in Canada and the United States that I don't like. I don't like all this transgender stuff. And I really fight for the children so that children are not affected by this, are not indoctrinated or told false truths that are not scientifically accurate. I fight for the kids. But if someone's an adult and they want to be transgender, that is their God-given right to, and I do say God-given because it was always God's idea to have freedom. The Lord gave us the huge opportunity and the tremendous privilege of choosing whom we will serve. That's a serious thing, and God takes it serious. He gives us the ability to serve him or reject him, to serve him or to serve Buddha or Allah or any of the Sikh gods, or, to just be an atheist. Choose you this day whom you will serve. That is a very, very important part of a free society. Unfortunately, it means you have to take responsibility for instilling your values and how you believe in the next generation. And if you do not, they will not know. They will not follow it. And we have now seen the decline in Canada. I think we failed on many levels. And we all look back and we wish that, we could do things differently in some ways had we known, like everything. They took prayer out of schools back in the 60s, I believe. So they're doing a brand new movie. This movie's coming out. It's going to be a theatrical release. Spectacular. They're going for A-list Hollywood celebrities to play and act in this movie. And it's about the story of the coach, and his name escapes me right now, but it's the coach who kept on praying on the field. And they said, you can't do that. You can't pray on the field after the game. And he said, well, why not? I'm thanking God that no one got hurt today, and thanking God for, his provision and whatever he's praying about. No, you're not allowed to pray. So in free America, a coach is banned and told he may not pray on the field. So he took them to court. And he lost for 7 years, and it kept going through these challenges, and he lost. It was based on freedom of religion. So they wanted to ban him from praying on a football field. Well, finally, they actually made it a freedom of speech issue, and it went to the Supreme Court, and he won. So what happens is it's spectacular. Now, in the middle of the movie, on the team, his wife ended up being the PR person that had to fire him in the beginning. They said, you've got to fire him. And she fired her own husband because they told her to. I wonder how that marriage is. Can't wait to see the movie on that regard. Long ride home. So this movie is going to be spectacular. And apparently there's some really big names that are interested in the parts. And I mean, it's a movie for freedom for Canada, and for the United States. But this is what in North America we're facing. It's what we're facing in Canada. So then there's another story about a young girl, and she was on, I believe it was a soccer team, and she would not take a knee for the national anthem. And so her coach sidelined her, and she was used to getting about something like 70 to 80 minutes of playtime or something, or like in the, within a period of time. And then all of a sudden she was down to like 5 minutes, and the coach berated her in front of all of her, players and her team members. And then she was sidelined. So she quit, and she has now taken the coach and the team to court, and a judge has ruled that it shall be heard in a big hearing on this. And this is all good. This is a turn around. We've removed God. We don't teach our children what's appropriate. If there is no God and we do not honor the ways of God, then where do we get our moral standards? Where do we get what's right and wrong in our hearts and in our souls if we do not honor the word of God in all of this. So this is just a huge battle. UK, we probably can't do the UK excess deaths. Tragic story in Australia, can't do that one. Population reduction, no. Okay. All right. So we're going to Rumble so that we can show you a few more very important clips. Rumble.com, and in the you're going to put it's in there now. So everyone on YouTube, you can go and click on that, head over to Rumble, and we'll show it. We're very sorry. We're not allowed to talk about things that are really going on in the world on this